Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, so how's everything at your end? I
Very
hope
well.
work and everything. I hope you're safe from COVID.
Yes, staying as far away as possible and
Great.
being isolated as much as possible. Minimal interactions. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
non-stop Zoom calls, to be honest.
Yeah, I've literally forgotten how to hug people. It's been so
It, it,
long.
it is one of those things
Yeah.
that's has come up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, it would be great if you could introduce yourself. We've already done that in our pre-hype, but still, I think it would be great if the audience could hear about you from you.
Sure.
So, let's start with that.
So I have now been involved with the e-commerce industry for almost 10 years. I started initially at the RAS, where I was a product manager. This is in 2012. I was there for about a year. I then went on to sort of start a couple of my own e-commerce startups, one of which Pet People lasted about 5 to 6 years. So we only shut it down in 2018. And in 2014, I then became the managing director of Kemu.pk, which was another rocket internet funded e-commerce marketplace built on the Taobao model that they have in China. And that grew very, very quickly. So by August 2015, we were doing more than 3,000 orders a day. Unfortunately, we couldn't sort of keep that run going, and the business was then merged into the RAS because they were sort of sister companies anyway. I then moved to Yevo.com, which was TCS's e-commerce arm. And so from 2016 till 2019, I was the CEO of Yevo. And then in 2020, in about February, March, the idea for Be Secure basically came about. And we started Be Secure, and we're growing fairly quickly right now, but I guess that's for another time. So pretty involved in e-commerce for a very long time now.
Yeah, I believe this industry, it's booming now ever since coronavirus started. I see a new online business. I see a new ad every day. People are just sitting at home. Even there's two, three people who are in my family, they're just sitting at home and they're, running their websites and they're earning well, they're doing good. Yeah.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, one of the beauties of the e-commerce business is the low barriers to entry. I
Yes.
mean, technically in Pakistan, you don't even need a website. You can run it
Yes.
out of a Facebook shop
Yes.
or a WhatsApp group. It's sort of very
Mm.
easy to sort of do that because at the end of the day, what's key is as long as you have the trust of your customers, how you
Mm.
connect with them is just a distribution channel.
Yes.
So whether
Exactly.
that be a WhatsApp group, whether that be a Facebook page, whether that be like a website, a proper website, that's just a means of getting to your customer, nothing more than
Yes.
that.
I think in Pakistan, people are happier communicating on WhatsApp rather than websites because they are sure that they're talking to a person when they're talking on WhatsApp. We still have that trust issue with online websites and Facebook pages, etc. So I believe people here are actually more comfortable when they have a phone number and they can chat with somebody. Anyway,
And yeah,
so
absolutely, that's there. Actually, it goes the other way too, because for example, for a lot of cash on delivery orders now, a lot
yes.
of e-commerce websites take it upon themselves to call the customer to confirm the order. So
Yes.
it's actually a two-way street.
Yes,
But yeah.
I think that's much needed here. I mean, I don't think businesses can be sending out orders without confirming. People here just like they're sitting back and they're placing orders. Their children are placing orders on their phones, so the
Yeah.
confirmation part seems pretty important. So
No, it is. It
it
absolutely is.
actually is, yes. So my first question to you that I wanted to ask, our topic was the importance leveraging sustainability to boost e-commerce businesses. So how important do you think sustainability is in order to run an e-commerce business and keep it in the market for a long time? Because there's so many businesses I see starting, but then they're just shut down after 6 months, a year maximum.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely crucial. I mean, without sustainability, there's no way you're going to be, by definition, sustainable in the long term. It's needed. And but I think when it comes specifically to e-commerce businesses, there's a lot more to sort of look at, because if you're comparing a traditional retail business, so let's say if you open up a shop versus an e-commerce business, there's major factors that are different. So when you're opening up a shop, generally your sunk costs are much higher. So you're paying a deposit on the rent. You then have a full-time employee that you need to keep. You need to purchase inventory and set up the shop and everything. But
Yes.
then after that, if that sunk cost is there, your variable costs are very low. So you're basically got your electricity and your human resource, okay,
Yes.
and basic elements like that. There's very little variable cost. Whereas in an e-commerce business, it's the opposite. Your sunk costs are very, very low. Setting up a WhatsApp group or an e-commerce website is a cost that's close to nothing. Okay.
Yes.
You like even setting up a website, you can do in as little as $10-15 a day. And if you really want to go out, you can buy a theme for $50 to $100. Okay.
Yes.
So it's all pretty much variable cost. But then, and you don't even have to buy the inventory, because you can potentially procure the inventory as the orders are coming in. Your delivery times may vary because of that, and there's more hassle, but you could potentially do that. But the problem then becomes when you're getting orders regularly now, your costs on an e-commerce website are much higher, because your shipping costs are added in. Okay. So you're paying between 100 to 200 rupees per kilo, depending on the item. You then have to package the item as well. Okay. Just including the cost of packaging can go from 10, 20, 30 rupees as well. So your variable costs or the unit economics becomes much worse. Whereas, with a retail shop, you just put in a simple plastic bag, hand it over to the customer.
Yes.
So for an e-commerce business, while starting is very, very easy and very cost efficient, the long-term sustainability truly depends on the unit economics and whether you can manage that sort of variable cost. So you generally need higher margins
Yes. So there
or
is
a lot
an
of volume to
investment, no
sustain
matter
yourself.
what, we are investing in one way or the other, sooner or later. All right. And
Absolutely.
what do you think the customers that we have, people who are on shopping online, what do you think matters to them the most? What do you think what's the first thing and the foremost important thing they look at when they're shopping online, especially in Pakistan, I would say, because where we have just recently started, believing in online shopping.
Yeah. So we recently, a couple of us e-commerce sort of enthusiasts last year ran an e-commerce award. So we basically had all the large e-commerce companies and a lot of small ones participate as well. We had over 100,000 votes coming in for the e-commerce companies that were registered with us. So when we did that, we also at the same time ran a survey of all the 100,000 plus like customers that sort of voted, and asked them their thoughts on the e-commerce market in Pakistan. And we were lucky that just shy of 15,000 people responded.
Wow.
And from that, we actually found out that actually trust is actually one of the major elements that is severely lacking in the Pakistani e-commerce space.
Yes.
And that actually hampers a sort of lot of business. So, we asked all the people who prefer cash on delivery. So the first question we asked was, how many people prefer cash on delivery over other payment methods? And 79% of people said they prefer cash on delivery, which is huge. Okay?
Yes.
And then just that small segment, that 79%, we then asked them, okay, why do they prefer cash on delivery? And the main reasons, if you add them all up, so the main reason was, I do not have a card or mobile wallet. Okay, that's 33%. But then the next three reasons, my family have had a bad experience. I do not trust the store seller, and I do not trust the logistics company. If you add those three, that goes to well over 50% of people not trusting the experience. So not having access to a payment method is one core element, but generally the majority is trust.
Yes, I think that's actually that's what I was going to ask you as well. I was going to talk about online payments, how they're not at all common in Pakistan, and how do you think we can fix that problem? Also, since you're also working on a same business model, you're also encouraging online payments, helping businesses integrate online payments. So how do you think your company is solving that for people? And generally also, how do you think we can, get people to start believing in online stores and start shopping from them, start, using online methods of payment?
So actually, building trust is very simple. It is literally very simple. It's, for me, the way I like to look at it, it's being consistent over a long period of time, okay, or over multiple occurrences. That's it. Trust equals consistency multiplied by time, nothing else. So this is one of the things we looked at Yevo as well. We found that we did a study, because at one point Yevo was almost about 60% of their orders were coming through prepayment channels, which is huge for
Yes.
Pakistan. And we did a study. We looked at all the customers who placed their first order via cash on delivery, and then we segmented all of those customers who placed at least 5 orders over a period of, I think, 3 or 4 months, and made sure all of those 5 orders basically got delivered with, like, on time and perfectly, or if they had an issue, it was resolved very quickly. And we found that about 70 to 75% of those orders, that cohort, by the 5th order was paying online. You
Okay.
see, so, the first, second, third order might come in with cash on delivery, but if you deliver properly, the fourth, fifth order onwards will go to prepayment, because it
Online.
is easier for the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Cash on delivery is by no means convenient.
Yeah.
It's just the best option when you don't trust the seller on the other side.
Yes.
And this same question we actually asked in the e-commerce award. So, the question was, if you were to get the first 3 to 5 deliveries from an online store in perfect condition, how many would you be willing to pay before delivery next time? And 62% said yes.
Wow.
So it's all a matter of trust. And this is actually one of the problems with so many e-commerce companies, especially those that, are building it up just very quickly without thinking about how they're going to expand it, or, the customer experience they're giving. They might potentially cause more harm as well, because they'll have a couple of customers come in, they'll decide not to place the order because they don't want to, and
Hmm.
then everyone will basically stop trusting it. I'll tell you
Yeah.
my own personal example. Just yesterday, I had to raise a dispute with my bank and do a chargeback with an e-commerce company which I ordered from in June, because
Mhm.
they have not delivered and they stopped responding to emails. It's pretty normal.
Yes. No, even I prefer cash on delivery, even with good brands. I was just ordering clothes yesterday and it's a well-known brand, but first I was going to go for the card option, and then I thought about it for 5 to 10 seconds and I was like, no, I'll just pay when I get my order. So yeah, we actually do have that problem here. And do you think that affects online growth? That affects the growth of a business, the fact that people are not putting their trust in the business, people are not willing to pay in advance for orders?
Absolutely. Because see, if you look at it, it's cash on delivery is not convenient. It means you have to be at home,
Yes.
or you need someone at home, and you need to ensure the money is left over there.
Yes.
Because if you look at, so luckily I've seen some logistics numbers as well. Now these numbers are a little bit older, so take it with a pinch of salt. But generally, so, when a logistics company, a delivery driver is delivering a normal parcel, they in effect have a 98-99% success rate on the first delivery, because they literally go there, they drop the parcel and leave.
Yes.
But for cash on delivery, that success rate, the first attempt success rate, can be as low as even 65-70%,
Yes.
depending on the category of items or who's selling it. It can go as high as 90% also, but it's already lower. And then there's a second issue with it. A cash on delivery order on average will always take between 6 to 15 minutes to deliver, because you can
Yes.
take the parcel over there, but the rider has to stay over there until the money comes and do the exchange and everything like that.
Yes.
So, and so it actually ends up being more expensive, both for the customer, and the e-commerce company as well.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Do you think internal collaboration between teams with vendors and everyone makes a difference towards, a business growing? It affects the growth of a business, because we've been at Convo as well. We've been trying to solve the same problem for different companies. So, what is your take on that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's sayings out there like, you ship your org chart.
Yes.
and you're sort of good as the weakest link within your company or anything like that. These are all very true. And you see examples of this all the time in a business, because there's even very small things can end up taking hours, if not days, because a certain, like a simple thing was not done by one person. Okay.
Yes.
Or someone missed an email. So, and honestly, these are all examples I'm just giving from the last week within my own company as well. And
Yeah.
these things happen. And one of the key things that any sort of entrepreneur or any sort of C-level executive has to do is ensure that that internal sort of process movement, the communication between the teams, is as seamless as possible.
Yes.
And while there are always going to be issues, because if you're a single person, it's always easy to manage things. But as every person you add, you're adding complexity. So there
Yes.
are always going to be challenges, and then you either need tools or very good sort of system in place to sort of manage that.
Hmm.
This is why you have like such a big profession of project managers anyway. No? Their job
Yes.
is purely communication, making sure things are sort of moving seamlessly between multiple department divisions or people.
Yes, exactly. All right. Agreed. I think I'm also literally every day, if I'm getting 6 emails, I'm definitely missing out on two of them. And then when I go home, I'm just going through my phone, I realize, oh my God, I, missed something out. So, uh,
It's normal, because we're human at the end of the day. But this is where ideally we need systems in place to catch these mistakes and to
yes.
sort of rectify them where possible, because you're guaranteed to make mistakes. It's just we need to ensure that we fix it very quickly and they don't end up turning into systematic issues.
Yes, I think as an entrepreneur, as a business runner, one needs to, almost every day sit down and note down all the problems they're facing or their team is facing. And then maybe at the end of the month or week, find solutions to them as well. Otherwise, I believe no business can work. What factors do you think help maintain and scale sustainability? What activities do you think businesses can carry forward to actually sustain their businesses?
So again, the key one in sustainability is you need to be profitable. Okay.
Okay.
Now it depends on the business in hand. So if you're building a business where you're looking to scale very quickly and you're looking for venture funds, that can come a little bit later, as
Yes.
long as you're sort of growing very quickly and as long as your unit economics sort of makes sense. You can invest today for future profitability. But if you're not the kind of business that is looking to sort of take on venture funds, you're looking to self-fund it, or keep the business fairly small or tight, then the sustainability of your business model is key, because no one can go on taking a business forward unless you're sort of making money, unless it's sort of making money itself. Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's key. Now, how do you do that is you have to ensure that the product or the business you're building is something that customers want, or basic product market fit. Because if you're building something no one wants, you're never going to get to the stage where you're sort of sustainable. Okay.
Yes.
Having customers is key, and this is something I've sort of learned the hard way as well. Is building technology is fairly easy in comparison.
Yes.
Bringing on customers, bringing on people to pay you is actually much harder. Okay.
Yeah.
So building a sustainable business means getting customers and getting them to pay you,
Yes.
and having
True.
that financial model that is
True.
sustainable.
True.
It's pretty simple.
Yes. Do you think that investing in technology is also a factor that affects a business's growth in this day and age? Obviously, because everyone is very tech savvy. Everyone is using different tools for growth.
Absolutely. I mean, without technology, you need the basic level of technology to ensure you're working as efficiently as possible. And like, to just tell you a little, like, some background on a conversation I just had this week. So we were talking to someone who's been running a store in Pakistan, like Karachi's Rainbow Center, for
Hmm.
decades now.
Hmm.
Okay. They for years, some of the team members have been talking to them, set up a proper ERP, set up a website, things like that. And that's something they never really invested in at that time, because they had enough customers sort of coming in and things like that. However, as soon as the pandemic hit and these lockdowns started happening, their customer traffic went down dramatically.
Yes.
And they then realized that, it was sort of almost impossible for them to sort of do anything online because they never knew what they sort of had. And you can't then expect to get a lot of orders for something all at once and not be able to deliver, because your reputation is going to take a hit. And this is a brand that's built a reputation over decades, and they
Yes.
can't afford that. So this is where, they've now started investing in the proper inventory management systems, the ERPs and everything. And it takes time, because see, you are in effect doing change management. You are changing the process of your company completely, because before, when they had items coming into stock, they sort of knew it. They put it on a basic ledger, they put it in one corner of their warehouse. They
Yes.
sort of knew it was there. They didn't know exactly where it was, but they knew it was there somewhere.
Yes.
But when you're installing an ERP, it's completely different. You have to open it, you have to tag it, you have to scan it, you have to enter it into the
Yeah.
system properly. And then, so that's a one-time activity anytime new items are coming in. But then every time an order is going out, you have to tag it and scan it as well.
Yes.
So, it completely changes the dynamics. And it is something that, it is difficult. All change is difficult, but this is then a company that has been operating in a certain way for years, if not decades.
Mm.
Getting them to change will be harder, but hopefully this pandemic is driving some of that change now.
Yeah, I think people don't have an option anymore. They've got to, change things for themselves now. So, it's almost brings down to my last question that I wanted to ask you. Since you've been in the industry for so long, is there anything that you think new businesses, new online businesses should be looking out for?
Yes, I mean, they should. I mean, I don't have a specific answer over here, but you have to meet your customer where they are and in the way they want to sort of transact with you. And this is where you just have to talk to your customers. So, I mean, even with Be Secure, if I give you an example, we have a huge list of things that we want to develop
Yes.
for the actual checkout. And we've even, for some of them, we've even prepared a very basic sort of visual idea of what we want it to look like.
Yes.
But it's not on our roadmap until a customer actually asks for it. So, in
Yes.
conversations, this is something we might just sort of throw out there or bring it up saying, this is how we're looking for Be Secure to go. These are key features we're looking to build, but they're not specifically on the roadmap until a customer says, nahi, haan, yaar, I want this. Because,
Yes.
one of the things we can't do is we can't invest. We've got a ton of ideas, okay? And we
Hmm.
always listen to ideas from our customers as well. And then we put it on the site. And we then basically we wait for a customer who actually says, I want this, develop this for me. And then when we lock in a contract with them, absolutely
Yes.
we're going to go and start developing it, because then we have a built-in customer. I know I'm not wasting the man hours of my tech team, my product team, or anyone else building something that no one wants. So
Yes.
it's sort of an evolution like that. So it's have your own ideas, do your own brainstorming, keep everything to the side. Listen to your customers. Any great ideas they have, we put it to the side. Maybe do very basic development on it. So just make
Yes.
a diagram of it, a user journey, some like nothing that takes more than half an hour to an hour. And
Yes.
then whenever you're bringing it up to your customers, go ahead and build that only when you have a customer locked in for it. Because these are mistakes I've sort of also made, and we've sort of changed the structure of the company now, saying we'll make absolutely any and anything as long as it's connecting to our core checkout product.
Yes.
But we need a customer for it before we do it.
Got it. Minimal risk and time saving mainly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Got
I mean,
it.
so we're happy to take that risk to make it, but then you as a customer need to say, you need to commit to wanting it or testing it out for us. We're
Yeah.
not saying it'll work, not saying it'll be a game changer. No one's saying that. That risk is there. But at least when we release it, when we spend dozens, if not hundreds of man hours on it,
Yes.
we know that we have a customer who wants to test it out. It's not just going to be sitting there,
Yeah.
not being used.
Somebody should be looking out for it. Yes, of course. Of course. Fine.
Exactly.
All right. So I think this was a great session. Thank you so much for taking out the time for us. And actually, I believe I've learned a lot, and I'm sure the audience will learn a lot from this as well. We're all somewhere struggling with online businesses,
Nice.
whether it's our own or it's somebody else's. So I believe this session was great. Thank you
Nice.
again for
Thank you
taking
so
out
much
the
for having
time. And I'll inshallah talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having
All
me.
right. Okay. Bye bye.